Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next?
What's good, y'all? It's your man Hezo, and welcome back to the Blacktop, where I always got next, you feel me? So another big slate of NBA games on for this Friday night. Miami and Boston was on ESPN. I unfortunately did not get to watch any of that game, and y'all already know why, man. I'm too busy watching my Hawks, man. I ain't tuning into no other game when my Hawks is on. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Leave a like on the video. I'm on my way to now 600 subs. I just eclipsed 500. I actually wanted to be there by the end of this month, and y'all just killed it with the last Hawks recap. So I greatly appreciate it, man. The grind continues. Y'all have supported me up until this point through my entire journey. If I can get to 1,000 by the end of this year, that would be incredible. I would be absolutely speechless, but I'm not going to bank on that. But let's keep this momentum going. Help me get to 600. And let's get right into it. So the Magic in Atlanta taking on the Hawks. This was a game that I did not really see from start to finish. I mean, it was kind of an up and down game the entire game. Atlanta comes out the gate extremely slow on offense. Once again, I look for them to clean that up in the next week or so once they started to get into a rhythm. But just early turnovers, just missing so many shots that it just didn't look good. It did not look good early on in the first half. Atrocious first quarter for the Hawks. Constant turnovers, bad turnovers too. They weren't even really forced turnovers. It was just sloppy play. Trey was he was atrocious the entire first half. I think he finished like 0 for 7, 2 points, 0 for 7, 0 for 5 from 3. Just settling, man. Trey has got to clean that up. He's got to stop settling for so many threes and start attacking the rim more. Cole Anthony came off the bench for the Magic. It was incredible. He was incredible the entire game. He was just shooting the lights out. He had finished with 17 points in the first half for the Magic, and it was just cooking. He was absolutely cooking. He was just pulling up from three, hand in the face, did not matter. John Collins had a very nice first half. He led the way for Atlanta. DeJounte Murray started out slow, but as the game went on, he also picked it up. DeAndre Hunter had a pretty decent first half as well. Was kind of quiet in the second half, but that's okay. Paolo Banchero, rookie, obviously, in his second game, he had an excellent first game for him. Didn't have the greatest first half. He picked it up a little bit in the second half, but he did miss a lot of shots this game, but that's all right. This kid's a stud, man. Banchero's a stud. I actually thought he was going to be a bust. Now, we only 2 games in. I get all that, but this kid looks like the real deal. I actually thought they were stupid as hell for passing on Jabari Smith, but in my opinion, it looks like you really couldn't go wrong with Banchero or Jabari Smith. Both kids look like they're going to be studs. This was a tale of 2 halves. The second half, Atlanta came out and was a completely different team. Trey started attacking the rim more, stopped settling for as many jump shots. He still took, a handful of threes in the second half, but he wasn't settling quite as much, at least until a little bit later in the fourth quarter. He just kind of started jacking them shots when it was up like 12, 13 points. It is what it is. The defense really stepped up in the second half, forcing turnovers, getting into transition, and I think that was a huge difference in the game. John Collins, man. This dude was incredible. He was incredible the entire game. The second half, he was incredible. The fourth quarter, he was incredible. He was hitting threes. He was getting steals. He was getting in transition. He was catching lobs. John Collins was the player of the game, and it's not even close. DeJounte Murray was playing defense, getting steals, getting into transition, finishing at the rim. He had a nice, solid second half. Like I said, a little bit slow starting out, but he picked it up in the second half. Trey got going in the second half. He didn't have an efficient game, but he got going a little bit. He was still turning the ball over a little bit too much. Again, I look for him to clean that up as the season goes on. Him and DeJounte are still learning to play together. It's going to be, kind of a process. This shit ain't going to happen overnight, man. They're playing 2 bad teams, really 3 bad teams in the first couple games because we got Charlotte on Sunday. These are bad teams. Let's call it for what it is. I look for them to clean it up, but it's good to play these teams now so where you can figure it out against the bad teams to where now when you're playing these contenders like Milwaukee coming up in a couple days, they play Milwaukee, I think twice in like 4 games. I'm not really sure exactly what the schedule is, but y'all get what I'm saying. I look for them to clean it up. Overall, it was a great second half. Justin Holiday hit some big shots down the stretch of the fourth quarter before Dre came back in. Dre wasn't too much of a factor this game. He had some nice plays, but the thing is, I felt like he was getting fouled a lot and just was not getting any calls when he would go to the rim. Now, that happens. It is what it is. They were letting these guys be physical this game. I look for that obviously to change as well going on the rest of the season, but overall, great great fourth quarter for Atlanta. They took control. They ran with it. Trey started getting going, attacking the rim more. He started hitting threes, getting to the line. DeJounte was doing DeJounte. The playmaking was still excellent. Still excellent for Trey. That's one thing he was doing. He was still playmaking very well. Other than his turnovers, he had some sloppy turnovers. DeJounte had some sloppy turnovers. There was a lot of bad turnovers in this game. After not turning the ball over barely at all against Houston, you come out, sloppy play, but you still get the dub. And that is the most important thing. You still get the win for as bad as Trey played overall. Because when you look at the box score, really when you look at the game, Trey didn't have a good game. Forget the 25 points, I don't care. He did not shoot efficiently. He was turning the ball over. This was not a good Trey Young game. He's gonna clean that up. When you play a team like the Magic who has a lot of length, a lot of guys that have a lot of length, you gotta be smarter with taking care of the ball. The Magic is they're not a good team, obviously, but they have a lot of young, good athletes on this team. Paolo Banchero, I already touched on him. He's gonna be a stud. He had a rough fourth quarter. He had a couple shots early on, but he just didn't have a good game overall. I think he finished with like 18. He did have a double-double, but he just didn't shoot the ball well. I think 1 for 6 from 3. But I don't even really look at that. He's going to be a stud, man. He's going to be a stud. Now, real quick, before I get into my main overall key points that I took away from this game, I want to go back to DeAndre Hunter for a second, because obviously we all know that he just got his big contract extension. Even though he was not that big of an impact on offense against the tonight against the Magic, I think he finished like 5 for 12 on offense. But his defense, these first 2 games has been elite. Franz Wagner, every time he was guarding Franz Wagner, who's a pretty solid young player, he was boxed. He was boxing pretty much anybody that he was on. DeAndre Hunter's defense has been elite. I look for that to continue the rest of the season. And that's really where DeAndre Hunter's impact is going to be felt. If he can just give you 15, 16, 17 points a game, DeAndre Hunter is going to be in the running for most improved player. I said it before the season. He had 22, against Houston. Almost lost my words there. He had 22 against Houston. He finished with 12 tonight, but again, his defense was really what his impact was tonight. And he's going to have games like that. He's going to have games where he goes off for 20 to 25 points and still plays elite defense. There's going to be other games where he doesn't shoot, particularly well, but he still plays elite defense. That's who DeAndre Hunter is. That's why he got paid. Biggest key, he's got to stay healthy. So overall, man, not a great game for Atlanta by any means, but we still got the dub. That's the most important thing. We are 2-0 on the season. We got Charlotte on Sunday. And the biggest things that I took away from this game, after my whole spiel that I just went through, the biggest things, number one, is Trey has got to clean it up. He's got to stop settling for so many threes. I've said it from the beginning. If we're going to be a legitimate contender in the Eastern Conference, he's got to stop settling for so many threes. There was multiple times throughout this game where he got a switch on either Wendell Carter or Franz Wagner, and he would just take a step back three, get into your bag, get downhill, not really downhill, but get to the rim, take them off the dribble, and either hit your floater or finish an alley. That is what Trey is predicated his game off of, realistically, is getting to the rim and doing that alley or hitting the floater. That floater is his patented move. As good as he is, and as great as he is a three-point shooter from the deep ball, it's too much. You're settling too much, especially in these first 2 games. I think now he's 5 for 18 or 5 for 19, 5 for 20, I think, on the season from 3. That's unacceptable, man. It's unacceptable for a superstar caliber player. He's got to be better. He has got to be better if the Atlanta is going to be a contending team. I'm going to leave point number 1 at that. I'm not going to keep ranting about that. Point number 2, the turnovers. The turnovers have got to be cleaned up. Again, I said it, against Houston was great. 24 assists and 3 turnovers for the two guards, Trey and DeJounte. This game, not so much. Yeah, they were doing the playmaking, still had, I think, 22, 21 assists between the two of them, but several turnovers. I think Trey had 5 turnovers, DeJounte had 4, something like that. I'm not sure what the exact numbers was in the box score, but they turned the ball over a lot. They got to clean that up. Now, that could just be an anomaly, just one bad game. Again, these guys are still learning to play to each other, but these were not forced turnovers. These were just sloppy turnovers against a bad defensive team. Well, I wouldn't call them a bad defensive team, but just not a great team. So I look for them to clean that up against Charlotte and going forward. Point number 3, John Collins is him. I've said it from the beginning. I have always been a John Collins supporter. I have never advocated for him to be traded, and this is why, man. When John Collins gets touches, when he gets touches in the post, in threes in the corner, in transition, all those type of shots that he has been getting these first 2 games, he can be lethal. He can be an elite number 3 scorer on this team. I've always said John Collins is an all-star caliber player. Now, he probably may not ever make an all-star game just because the NBA is so deep, especially at the forward position. But John Collins has it in him, man. He's been the best player through these first 2 games. He's been the most consistent through these first 2 games. Now, it's only 2 games. I get all that. But if this is the John Collins that we get for the entire season, if he can go back to averaging 20 and 10 or 20 and 9, a couple assists, a steal here and there, averaging over a steal a game, over a block a game, John Collins is going to be a significant piece to what the Hawks can do in the Eastern Conference this season. Point number 3 is on the Magic side. I look at Paolo Banchero. I've already touched on him. He's a stud. Cole Anthony is a stud. I've always liked Cole Anthony. I'm a North Carolina fan for college basketball, even though I'm not a huge college basketball fan. I like Cole Anthony's game. He came in, was a big spark plug off the bench. One thing I look for the Magic is I look for Terrence Ross to be traded at the deadline. He just doesn't fit with your team. He does not fit with the direction this team is going. He's older. He needs to get moved to a contending team that can really use a shooter. There's a lot of teams out there that can use a shooter off the bench, like the Lakers, for example. They're not a contending team, but y'all get my point. He doesn't fit with the Magic. I do expect him to be moved at the trade deadline. I'm gonna pretty much leave it there, man. Those are my biggest takeaways from this game. Again, we are 2-0, so that's all that matters at the end of the day. We got Charlotte on Sunday. I'll look for us to get a win on that. Be on the lookout for my game recap after that game. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know what y'all thought about Trey's performance, all that type of good stuff. Leave a like on the video, and I will catch y'all next episode.